I unabashedly love the original Independence Day. When it came out, it was one of the first event movies. It was that summer blockbuster that just everybody was talking about. The original movie was an absolute crowd pleaser. They did all the things right. The practical effects, the mixture of CGI, the big Independence Day speech, the one-liners. It was very much the quintessential popcorn muncher blockbuster film. It was the highest grossing film of 1996. It made $817 million. So that's almost $1 billion. And to show you how huge the movie was, the second highest grossing film of the year was Twister at almost half of that. They pulled in $494 million. So just to kind of give you a picture of how monumentally huge Independence Day was. Movies these days pulling in almost $1 billion is not as big of a thing, but back then it wasn't very common. To give you an idea, in 1995, the highest grossing film was Die Hard with a Vengeance with $366 million. The movie rocketed Will Smith into stardom, and after the movie came out, I and a lot of other people were excited with the possibility of a potential sequel. There were a bunch of books that were written as sequels, and there was even an announced but never happened sequel that was called ID Forever. Which thankfully they didn't do, because Marky Mark would have been pissed. Years and years had gone by, and Independence Day has kind of become a bit of a punching bag. I think a lot of people don't realize just how monumental the film was. It was the inescapable film of 1996. Just everyone was talking about it. It was huge. It was the biggest movie of the year, and one of the biggest movies of all time up to that point. As time went on, it seemed less and less likely that they were going to be able to make a sequel. However, now here we are on the 20th anniversary of the film, and we've got Independence Day Resurgence. When I first heard they were doing this and I saw the trailer, I got super excited because finally, 20 years later, we're going to get a sequel to Independence Day. You know, better late than never. It looks like they've got a lot of the original cast back, as well as including a bunch of newer faces, actors and actresses who I really like, who are just on their way up. And I was excited. This is a huge movie and a big opportunity for them. So I settled in to watch the movie, and just 20 years of anticipation leading up to it, and it wasn't as good as the first movie. It felt like the entire 2-hour film was the third act. There was very little lead up. There was very little establishing what was going on. It was, hey, Independence Day happened and now it's the future. And oh my God, the aliens are coming back. And oh, we have to fight. And certain films can work with that breakneck pace. But with this, it just felt like they were introducing some characters and then they would shift to something else and they would go over a little bit what's going over here and then jump over here and then kept going back and forth. And it just was disjointed and moved too quickly. The plot is essentially, it's 20 years into the future after the alien invasion, and we've taken all of the alien technology and have been researching it over the past 20 years and learning how to use it, learning how to set it up to defend ourselves. Will Smith, since he wasn't in this, they had him killed off in some kind of testing accident, and his son, Dylan, from the first movie, is now grown up since it's 20 years later, and he is one of the elite alien spaceship pilots. Bill Pullman, who was the president in the first one, he's having these visions, and he knows the aliens are coming back, and there's a few other people around the globe that are having these same visions, and they're getting ready. They know the aliens are coming back. The effects in the movie were cool. They weren't as believable as the practicals from the first one, but I thought for a movie that was really heavily CGI dependent, that it did look pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised if they did have some models mixed into there, but there were a lot of things that had that sheen that just, you could tell that they were CG. It just, it didn't look quite right, but still it was good. They're getting there. Overall, the cast was good. Fichtner was great. I like Micah Monroe a lot. Jeff Goldblum is great as always. Judd Hirsch was back. He provided a lot of humor. And Brent Spiner returned and had a much larger part this time around. I very much enjoyed what they did with him. They greatly expanded his character and made him more than just the cannon fodder that he was in the first film. One major thing that they overdid in the film, there was so many whoa whoa moments where they were in a spaceship or they were in something and they're rushing towards an exit, or they're trying to outrun an explosion, or they're trying to get away from something, and, you know, they're pulling on their control stick and they're all going, whoa! I'm not even kidding. I think they did it at least 10 times throughout the film, sometimes within a few minutes of each other. Independence Day Resurgence is nowhere near as good as the original, but it was an alright action sci-fi movie, and that wouldn't be as big of a deal if it was the first movie in this series. But having to live up to the predecessor, it just fell way short of the high watermark that one set. I'm not saying that Independence Day, the original, was some kind of Oscar tier movie. I'm saying it was just a very highly entertaining, fun blockbuster. And this, it felt like it was trying to replicate that by increasing the action and whatnot, just pushing everything to 11. And it didn't work. The main characters weren't as likable. There was too much going on, and the whole thing just was sprinting towards the finish. There was never the gravity that the first one had. The first one, there was the lead up, and then, holy shit, they're blowing up different parts of the world. And with this, it was like stuff just started blowing up right away. And even though everything was larger and there was more at stake and the world was just completely getting destroyed, it didn't feel as big as the first one. It was supposed to be a much larger film, a much larger scale of the alien invasion, but it ended up feeling a lot smaller. Overall, it's somewhat entertaining. It's probably worth seeing it in the theater to see some of the big grandiose special effects. But really, and this kind of bums me out saying it, it's not the must-see summer film like the original was. It's the more expensive, less likable follow-up to the original. I would say if you really want to see this, if you're a big fan of the original and you want to continue the series 20 years later to see what's going on, I would check a matinee.